Ah, yes. And those very docet 70s tones come creeping in. You know that means it's time for Drinks with Ron. Hello, I'm Ron. Feeling very festive once again. It is colder than a snowman's dick right now here in Wisconsin. I don't believe it got above zero today. So, very holiday spirit. You can tell because Disco Noel is still on the platter. I got a copyright violation last time. It was clearly didn't learn my lesson because, I need to have these solid jams associated with me. But let me digress for the first time in this episode. One of the things about the holidays, I celebrate Alvistime. It's a fictitious holiday, aren't they all? About a fictitious savior and messiah, aren't they all? But it's from C-Lab 2021, an Adult Swim cartoon, some 20 years old now. But Elvis, his holiday is celebrating liquor and revenge. So it's a liquor and ham hootenanny that celebrates drinking. And drinking, that sounds like a great idea. So let's go over here. We're not going to go to the Triumvirate of Taps here at Third Generation Brewing today. No, we're actually going to come down here into this fabulous robber baron carpetbagger style globe flip top bar. He said so eloquently. But I've got some Wollersheim Distillery. That's Wisconsin right there. Wollersheim. That's how you know. But it's bourbon whiskey. Squirrely Dan's older brother, friend of mine on the podcast, pointed out. I said, how can they get away with calling it bourbon? It's made in Wisconsin. He said, no. I bet you if you look, it'll say bourbon whiskey. And it does. So it's like, for you wrestling fans, Taz leaving the WWE, you had extra Z on it. Now you're good, Mickey E. Mouse is copyright. I'm being outsmarted by a plastic cap. There we go. Think less, Ron. And let's see what we've got. Ooh, that smells delicious. Getting notes of green apple. And again, I've said it 100 times on the show. I'll say it 101. The proper way to smell an alcohol, you don't sniff. Excuse me. Oh, got the drip. You don't sniff like some 80s cokehead. You hold it under your nose, you open your mouth, and you breathe normally through your mouth. Now, you're going to pick up the subtle tones because you're going to pull it just slightly in through your nose with your breathing. Now that will keep the alcohol from overriding the subtle smells, like I said. Green apple and brown sugar. This smells fucking delicious. God, I was gonna make a drink with this. I had a whole thing set up for the drink, but I feel like I some variety of uncouth caveman if I don't drink it straight. So, well, best laid plans be damned. I was gonna do a drink that I did on the podcast. I'd called it a season's greetings. You take some whiskey, you top it with some squirt, or in my case, I use the generic alternative, and you drizzle a little red syrup on there to give it that holiday flavor. It's called the Season's Greetings. It was very delicious, and I'm apparently not going to have one. That's okay. I'm gonna have some whiskey because after this, I'm gonna do some cleaning. I'm gonna do some cleaning of the basement. Is what I'm gonna do. But let me again digress. Again, as I said, we're gonna tie it all together. Disco Noel, 70s, just at peak 70s. And we're gonna bring back a character that I did a few shows ago. Fortunately, I pulled this character out of my ass a little while back, and I just happened to have a hat and glasses and everything I needed to complete the character. So I decided to keep him around, and we're gonna bring back coked out 80s Little League coach. You're welcome. I don't want to overuse delicious. That was A little bit too much water. I let the ice melt, so the second pull here is going to be a little more accurate on the flavor. You know, you can do the Kentucky Chew, I think it's called, where you smack it around in your mouth. I learned that from watching one of the like fourth generation of the Jim Beam distillers, you know, like Billy Bob Beam or whatever it is. But the Kentucky Chew, yeah. I don't think I'm going to do that. It looks ridiculous when you do that. Okay, that had a little more flavor to it. It wasn't as watery. That's a decent whiskey. I'm not gonna call it a bourbon. I mean, I know they did the thing and it's bourbon whiskey, but it's a Wisconsin, and I've always wanted a Wisconsin whiskey, especially made by bourbon standards, which I believe this is a 4-year. I'm sure they use new charred white oak barrels. So I'm guessing they followed protocols. Well, what the hell? Look at this. It's a holiday doubler. It's fucking giddy up that jingle horse. Well, that reminds me of something else. Man, I've been trying to get a buddy of mine, friend of the show, Bobo McGaw. I've been trying to get him to do Christmas songs. Hear me out here. Hear me out. I wouldn't come up with something just that simple. There ain't nothing that. Look at that. Okay. A season's greetings to you and yours at Alvistime. Now drink deeply with me of the bourbon, scotch, and rye until such time as we're fighting drunk. So saith Elvis. Okay, that's reasonable. But yeah, I've been trying to get my buddy Bobo McGaw to do Christmas songs. Well, the original idea went like this. We were talking about going caroling, but I said, what if we subtly changed a couple of words to the songs to things that were inappropriate? Said, if you did it subtly, how long could we get away with it? You know what I'm talking? Okay, I'll give you an example. I gotta turn this down because it'll interfere with it. Let me show you. So here's an example. A bunch of us walk up to a house, holding drinks, all hammered, and it's in the meadow we can build a snowman and pretend that he's a fucking clown. He'll say, are you married? We'll say, no, man. But for $20 a reach around. I mean, that might be a little too aggressive, but you get where I'm going with this. Is that giddy up, jingle whores, pick up your feet. And the interesting fun fact, if you say giddy up, jingle whores to your phone, it will correct it to horse. So it's like, come on, man. Do better, Apple. You got to know I mean jingle whores. Fuck yeah. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. The shiny nose. Disco drums, man. I love that hi-hat shit. Well, let me throw in the hat trick. I will digress for a third time. It's okay. 6 out of 10. But I did promise a return of a character from an old episode. So let me get there. Because I've got some beer off screen here. Got some beer down here. Oh, you know what? As soon as I put on the hat and glasses, the character just comes in. There's really nothing I could do. I wanted to explain the setup a little bit more as myself. But coked up 1980s Little League coach is in the house. So what we got going on down here, we got some beer down here. Now, I've shown you before, when you start to make a beer, the first part of the batch you put in a bucket a lot like this. You give it a couple of weeks, it foams up real big, creates a bunch of alcohol. That's what you want when you're making an alcoholic beverage. You want that alcohol. So a fast ferment creates a big rise in foam. You get that initial rise, then it's going to settle back down. Okay, it's going to settle back down. Once it does, it calms down. You get it back in line. Then you're going to transfer over to what's called a carboy. So now, if you got an office, you go in there Monday morning, it's still maybe a little tooted up from the weekend, and you got that water cooler. That's what you want to think of, man. That water cooler jug. Let me give you an example. I actually got one here. So, you will then transfer the beer from the bucket to the carboy with the funnel, and preferably with also a mesh strainer. Because what's happening here, you get that ferment, it rises, it falls. Now all your shit in the bottom, you're gonna go trub. I believe that's what they call that, trub. It's an industry term. Don't ask me, I'm not a home brewer. I'm a coked up 1980s Little League coach. But all that shit settles down, all the hops and whatnot. And then what you do is you want to leave as much of that as you can behind. You want to leave it there. You don't bring it over to the new bucket, okay? Leave that in the bucket. Don't bring it to the new one. That's what we want to do, one smooth motion. So what I'm going to do actually is going to be slightly different this time because I've got my carboy here. Now what happens in the following few weeks is, again, more of that shit's going to settle down to the bottom. You're going to get some more clarity. It's going to clarify. That's what you want, nice and clean. Get that shit out of there. But what I'm gonna do from here is gonna be something a little bit different, okay? Stick with me, man. Follow the fundamentals. Fundamentals. Get in front of it, Bobby. Get in front of it. Yeah, I don't care. You can stand to lose a couple of them teeth. All right. Way to go. All right, hit your cutoff, man. All right, way to go. Coked up 1980s Little League coach in the house. So I'm gonna take this and then I'm gonna transfer half of this, okay? Okay, you follow me? Half. Take half of that, I'm gonna put that in a little tiny keg. You know what a keg is, right, man? It's the 1980s. I probably brought one to practice with me, you know, the old hand pump. These kind don't work like that. It's all high-tech, highfalutin with pressurized gas and whatnot. I don't know, I ain't a scientist. I'm a coked up 1980s Little League coach. But let me get back to what I was trying to tell you about. You take half of this, I'm gonna put it in a little keg. Then I'm gonna use that pressurized CO2. We're gonna carbonate that. Then I'll have it here, be able to run on tap. But what I'm going to do then is actually, I got a little wand with some hose on there, A to B, A to B. And then this wand's got a little stopper in the bottom. Follow me? It's got a spring in there, a little pointy thing that goes down, so when you push the thing up in there, it pushes the spring less the liquid. It's amazing. It's feat of science, man. So what I'm going to do from there is use that wand, and I'm going to fill up some bottles, probably about 12 of them. Then I'm going to get a hold of FedEx or UPS, because those are the only shippers that are authorized that will let you send liquor in the mail in some kind of delivery stream. Follow what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm not a shipping expert. I don't know anything about logistics. I don't know dick about packages. I'm a coked out 1980s Little League coach. But I can FedEx some of this out to a aforementioned buddy of mine, Squirrely Dan's older brother, out in Idaho. So what I'm going to do then in a couple days, that's going to pressurize in that keg, and then, like I said before, that gas, that CO2 gets in there, everything gets all jingle-jangly, all right? Feels like Christmas up in here. You know what I'm going to drink? This thing's called the Season's Greetings. It's a little to the fruity side for me. I'm super masculine, coked out 1980s Little League coach. Oh, disco break, time for a drink. Silver bells, am I right? It's a little too old for me. That's 70s, coked out 1980s Little League coach. So, if you follow where we left off, I filled that little barrel, little half barrel, half barrel, quarter barrel. I don't know. That's a fraction joke. If you do anything with cocaine, you know about fractions, am I right? But I'm not a math teacher. I'm a coked out 1980s baseball coach. So, we're going to take that thing, we're going to fill up the 12-pack, that'll empty the keg. So what I will have done then is transfer the other half of this into a smaller carboy, the one that I showed you earlier, the little fella, looks like a water jug. So once that sits and lets the rest of that clarify, I get those beers out of there, I'm going to transfer that into that quarter barrel and put some mango extract in there, man. So we're going to have a mango rhubarb beer, and we'll throw that bad boy on tap right down here at Third Generation Brewing, the triumvirate of taps. But don't ask me, I'm not a pitch man. I'm a coked out 1980s baseball coach. In fact, this disco's making me want to go re-up, so I'm going to go take a tutor, man. Peace out. For Drinks with Ron, I'm coked out 1980s Little League coach. Signing off. See you over at Bales, man.